You're listening to Just Hit Play with your hosts, Peter and Nick Cabral. If you're tired of your stagnant, streamed music feed, then strap yourselves in for an intergenerational sonic journey through Peter and Nick's favorite songs.
Welcome to episode 162 of Just Hit Play. I'm your host, Peter. With me is my co-host, Nick. Nick, how's it going? We missed last week. How you doing?
I'm doing well, but I'm currently living through a bit of a snowpocalypse.
Yes, I heard.
As you may, it's quite the weather event. It's really ground things to a halt here a bit in the cities. So
yeah, planes are flipping over. What the hell's going on over there?
Yeah, planes are flipping over. It's I'm digging my car out every time I want to go somewhere. It's craziness. So yeah, quite the hassle.
Well, not to throw a snowball in your face, but the weather here is absolutely lovely. It's like 29, 30 degrees, a bit of a cool breeze. Summer is finally starting to break. It's lovely. Like I woke up the other day, I traveled for work and I was in a little town called Chinchilla, which is like country Queensland. And I woke up in the morning and it was 17 degrees and it was absolutely perfect.
What I wouldn't give for 17 degrees right now. My goodness.
It's absolutely perfect. Yeah, sorry about all the snow you're getting.
Have you seen like pictures?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you still have people on Facebook and whatnot.
Yeah,
like you've seen. Yeah, man, it's bad. It's I don't remember the last time I've lived through like this much snow in such a short period of time, where it's really caused issues. Yeah.
I think before you were born, there was a situation where while I was in college, I used to work security in this warehouse, Dundas and Dixie area in Mississauga. And I used to live in Streetsville. So to get to Dundas and Dixie, if you're taking the highway, it's going to take about 20, 25 minutes to get there. Low traffic. And I was working the weekend, and there was such a snowstorm that they had to call the Canadian Army in to help clear the roads. But my coworker was just stuck at work, like no one could get to him. And he was he was like running out of food, like he was like having to go to the vending machine for food.
Oh.
So I had to try to get there. And I had like a tiny little Suzuki Swift at the time. So I got on the road, start driving, and I couldn't get to the workplace. I had to park my car about half a kilometer away and trudge through the snow just to get to the workplace and bring food for him and take over so he could go home. Like that was probably the worst snowstorm I'd ever seen. Like, I couldn't even get near work. It was so bad.
My God. Well, I had to drive to Sunnybrook Hospital on Thursday after the initial snowfall in the morning. That was treacherous. Like I was sliding all over the road.
Yeah.
But thankfully I didn't have to go back in until yesterday. So things were a bit better. But I have to park my car on the street. Like I have no driveway or anything. Yeah. And obviously the plow like piles up all the snow. Oh yeah, so the snow was up to my car door, like up to the door handle. So I had to dig my car out of a snowbank.
Yeah, no, I don't miss to leave. I don't miss those days. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, it's got me researching Australian immigration process.
The only other story that I remember about me being in a really bad snowstorm is your Aunt Patrice owned a bar in Oakville that I used to work at. I used to cook there. I was a cook. I was like 18, 19 years old. I would have been 18, 19 because I told them I was 19 so I could drink there even though I wasn't 19.
Nice.
So then they never asked me for ID, so I just kept drinking. And there was such a bad snowstorm one night that I just slept at the bar and woke up in the morning and started working. I literally fell asleep on top of the pool table. And then just woke up in the morning, opened the doors, and started cooking for people that were having like lunch and breakfast and stuff like that. Wow. So yeah, I remember your Aunt Patrice quite fondly.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice memory. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's wild what snow can do. It can really just halt infrastructure, everything. So.
It's nuts. Yeah, I'm gonna say living in Australia, the summers are brutal, but yeah, I don't have to go through any of that.
Yeah, well, that seems pretty nice to me right about now.
One of the things I want to, like I said earlier, we didn't record last week because I was traveling. I was in Sydney and all that kind of stuff. So I'm an international traveler now. I had to go to Sydney for a job. So we didn't get to talk about Kendrick Lamar and the Super Bowl halftime show. I'm really curious to see what you thought of the show because it was the most watched thing on TV since the moon landing, I think, in 1969. So, what were your thoughts of Kendrick Lamar in the halftime show?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I'm as anyone who listens to the show knows, a big fan of Kendrick. Like I really like his music a lot. I thought the Super Bowl it was just okay. Like the performance itself, he did a great job. The stage, the choreo, the rapping, like that was all really well done. But I think what was a bit of a misstep was the song selection and the set list choice, where he played a lot of stuff from his new album. Like he was playing album cuts from the new record, as opposed to some of his really, really big hits. And I think while that lended itself to like a really cohesive show that clearly aimed to tell a story, I don't know if the Super Bowl halftime show is really the stage for that. You know what I mean?
What did you think of the Drake disses? Was it too much? What were your thoughts?
I thought it was good. Like he obviously had to play Not Like Us. It's one of the biggest rap songs in years, and it just so happens to be a Drake diss. So obviously he had to play that song. I thought it was very tongue in cheek at points, like the teasing of it, and you know, when he said like I want to play the song, but I know they like to sue, etc. That was all fun, and I thought that was cool, but. Yeah, it was also on the precipice of sort of overshadowing the whole thing as well. Like, I feel like he really straddled the line of making the whole show about his beef with Drake instead of celebrating this moment for him as an artist and celebrating the career he's had.
Yeah, gotcha. I liked it. I wish he would have called Drake what he called him on the album instead of making a noise.
Like letting the crowd sing it, or
yeah. Can I ask you a question? As a person who is an admirer of rap, but certainly not in the rap hemisphere, what is the connection with A minor? Like I know people saying that as he said it. So can you explain to me how this A minor thing works? Do you know?
Like, are you like why we're calling Drake a pedophile?
No. You know how he goes. It sounded like A minor. Like, is that literally because he's talking about minors? Is that, or is there a different meaning? Okay.
Yeah. No, okay. It's literally just a double entendre on like just Drake and his somewhat suspicious activity with girls who are minors.
Right. Okay. I wasn't sure if there was like a deeper meaning, like it was reference to a song or anything like that.
I think just like the wordplay there between a chord, A minor. Yeah.
I did like Serena Williams.
Yeah, that was cool.
I thought that was with her Crip walk.
Yeah.
Me being me, I looked into the history of Crip walk, and it's very fascinating. Obviously, it stems from the Crips in LA gang, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. Now, this is disputed. Let me say that this is disputed. There was a dance performer, who his nickname was Crip, who had one leg.
No way.
And he did a dance called the Crip. The Crip walk.
Wow.
And that is sort of the origin, again, disputed. If you talk to the Crips in LA, they might dispute this, but there is footage. I've seen footage of this guy with one leg doing a dance that you would do with one leg. He threw his crutch away, and he was doing this amazing dance with one leg, and his nickname was Crip. So I'll leave that there.
And did it look like the Crip walk?
It did look like the Crip walk, yes.
Okay, so now someone needs to go to LA and record themselves mansplaining the origin of the Crip walk to some LA Crips and see what happens.
Exactly. I think, like I said, it'll be disputed because when I did my internet research, it was like, this is disputed, but here is video of this guy called Crip. That was his nickname. I wonder why they called him Crip, because he had one leg. I don't know. Yeah. And he did this dance that is very reminiscent of the Crip walk. Yeah. So wow, it's pretty interesting.
Fascinating. Okay. Yeah. Well, shout out Mr. Crip, the one-legged wonder.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty good. I like the performance. I like the performance better because it pissed off a lot of right-wing media.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What I found really, really interesting is the initial, because I didn't watch the Super Bowl halftime show. I was working. here in Australia. So I missed the Super Bowl. I missed the halftime show entirely. I watched it subsequently. So when I was at work and all the news started coming through about the halftime performance, all the news was this was the worst halftime performance ever. It bombed. It sucked. And I was like, oh, that's a shame. I have high hopes for Kendrick. But that was just the right-wing media really coming through and showing their true colors. It wasn't until I started digging a little bit deeper that was not the case, and that this was very much a beloved performance. A lot of people really loved his performance, and the viewership was through the roof. So I found that kind of funny how the initial reaction was, this is awful, how dare he do this kind of stuff, but it wasn't that at all.
Yeah, it was two things working against it, right? Like that element for sure, the politicization of it, and also the fact that Drake has a very large faction of fans who made it their mission to deride the show and call it a flop.
Yes.
Just because that's the age we live in, where everything is sort of a war like that online between different groups of people who like different things.
The first time, for me personally, one of the first times that I noticed a fake media campaign was for the movie Dukes of Hazzard, which was a remake of a TV show, an awful TV show that came out in the 2000s. And when the movie was being released, as it was being released in theaters, the internet response to it was magnificent. Like, it was like getting 10 stars, all this kind of stuff. Like, a day or two later is when the true reviews came out, and critics were calling it a piece of shit. Fans were calling it a piece of shit. So there was such a paid media response where these fake profiles, or they were paying people to review a movie they hadn't seen and to give it as many positive reviews because they knew it was a piece of shit, but they wanted as many people to go see it before word got out that it was a piece of shit. That's one of the first times that I ever saw that media sort of campaign to dupe the public into believing that this was a fantastic movie when it was just a piece of shit.
Wow. And there are many such cases of that happening now.
Yeah, now it's pretty, that happens all the time. But at the time, though, I remember that was the first time I'd seen it in action.
Wow. All for Dukes of Hazzard, huh?
It was a shit movie. I've never seen it, but by all accounts, it's a shit movie.
Yeah, I sure we can use our imagination and come to that conclusion, I think.
Yeah. It was badly cast. Willie Nelson was in it, I think, who I love Willie Nelson, but, it was a bad remake of a shit TV show. Yeah, I thought the performance was good. I hate Drake, so anytime people make fun of Drake, I'm gonna be all over it. I do find it funny where people go, "Oh, Drake's career is over," and I'm like, no, it's not.
He's fine. He's actually he's in Australia right now. Have you been? Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe you didn't know. He's been all over Australia for the past couple weeks. He's doing shows everywhere, like huge sold out arena shows.
No. Yeah. I must pay no attention to what's happening in the social aspect of nights in Australia.
Yeah. He's doing huge shows there. So
okay.
Yeah.
No. I hope they don't sell out, and I hope it rains every night if it's an outdoor show.
They're all indoors.
Okay, never mind.
and they look pretty packed. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, people love Drake here. I don't get it. I remember when people a few years ago when people found out I was from Toronto, like, oh, you must love Drake. I'm like, God, no, that's like, when I left, he was a kid in a wheelchair, and now, he's this amazing superstar, and I was like, I don't get it. So yeah, I don't like Drake.
Yeah, well, he did just release a new album. I actually like some of the songs off of it. It's not the worst thing he's ever made. I got to give him credit. There's definitely some good fun tracks on there. I don't think you would like any of it, but I definitely like some of it.
Well, my prediction is that he's going to be the Super Bowl performer for next year.
Oh, really? But Jay-Z is like in charge of the halftime show.
That is true. Jay-Z is, yeah.
Drake and Jay-Z, there's bad blood there.
Okay, maybe that won't happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to get into some music?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I'm getting you to listen to bands with interesting names that have released some really good music, and I got you to listen to a band called Cake, and the song was called The Distance. So Darren, just hit play on Cake and The Distance.
Reluctantly crouched at the starting line, Engines pumping and thumping in time. The green light flashes, the flags go up. Churning and burning, they yearn for the cup. They deftly maneuver and muscle for rank. Fuel burning fast on an empty tank. Reckless and wild, they pour through the turns. Their prowess is potent and secretly stern. As they speed through the finish, the flags go down. The fans get up and they get out of town. The arena is empty, except for one man still driving and striving.
All right, so tell me, what are your thoughts of Cake and The Distance? What did you like the song?
You know, I really like this song. I thought it was fantastic.
It's got a great riff, right?
Oh my god, phenomenal! Yeah, I really enjoyed this song. Like, to the point where I'm definitely, Cake is on my radar now. I'm interested in hearing some of their other stuff, just because, yeah, I really like what I heard.
Yeah,
I like this song for a lot of different reasons. Like, I think it builds well. It's sort of it's telling a story in a way, and I think it does a really good job of painting a picture of what's happening, why we should be so interested in what the song is talking about. Yeah, it just captivated me, honestly.
Yeah, they did an amazing cover of just the stuff. They did an amazing cover of "I Will Survive," which I think is absolutely fantastic and as good as the original. The original still pips it, but I love the remake that Cake did of "I Will Survive." So, yeah, if you ever get a chance, listen to that song.
All right, I definitely will.
Okay, so let me try to explain Cake if I can. Started in 1991. They're still together, and I'm going to go into why that's a little weird that they're still together. So this is what they say their genre of music is: country, mariachi, new wave, college rock, jazz, funk, Iranian folk music, Brazilian music, and hip hop. That's what they said their sound is.
Oh my god. All right, so just a bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, yeah. So they just threw a lot of shit at the wall, and here we go. We got The Distance. And this is what the song is about. The song is about success and failure of success. It's a sad song because there is no success. You can explode into a world of great magnificence and still feel like the guy underneath your Mickey Mouse head with fan batteries that have stopped working properly, and it's dark and hot in there, and everyone wants your autograph. So that's what they said the song is.
All right, yeah, all right, fair enough. Like I get where they're coming from. I guess I see the vision.
Yeah, I love the horns in the song. I love the guitar riff. I think the guitar riff is absolutely stellar. I love the deadpan vocals. I love this song immeasurably. It's one of my favorite songs. I really dig it.
Yeah, no, this is great. Like, not much more to it, honestly. It's just a really great, fun song. I found like it kept me coming back for more.
Yep.
It's over the last 2 weeks that we've had, like I've really found myself coming back and listening to the song a lot. And I don't know, it's just got something to it. There's like an X factor in this song that keeps me coming back.
There's another, their other big hit songs. This was their first really big hit song. Then they released I Will Survive, the cover, and that was a really big hit for them. And then they released another song called Long Skirts, Short Jacket, which was probably their biggest hit. So that was a couple albums after this one, which is a really great song too. So yeah, look up some Cake stuff. Really good stuff. They remind me a little bit of the Beta Band, where it's a really great groove and they have a very specific sound. That's what this song reminds me of.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's all on my radar now. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned earlier that the band officially are still together. Obviously, members of the band have come and gone. Their last album they released was 2011. Okay, so they've released a couple songs here and there, and then they said they were going to release a new album in 2014. That has never happened.
Okay.
But they keep saying that the album's not that far away, and as of 2024, they said that the album was coming. There has not been an album.
Do you think there's ever an album, or is the Cake album just the memories we made along the way?
They've done some reissues of some albums because they do have like 4 or 5 albums. I don't know. Like if I'm 51, they got to be my contemporary. They have to be in their 50s, if not mid 50s. I don't, when you get a little bit older, your energy levels drop a little bit. You don't have the same stamina or want as you did when you were in your early 20s trying to make bank. I don't know if we'll ever see another Cake album. I think that maybe their time has come and gone.
Yeah, do you think society needs another Cake album?
That's a better question, I think. Maybe we don't. I don't know. Maybe not. But let's talk about that when we talk about your artist in a second too. Maybe they don't need a Cake album. I don't know. I guess I'll let the music speak for itself. If it's good, then yes. If it's not, then no.
All right. Sounds good. I like that. I think that's a fair compromise. We'll let the music decide.
Well, yeah, if the song is great, then fuck yeah, we needed a new cake song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess let's find out if they ever release an album. I don't know if it'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah. We shall see. Let us know. Keep us posted.
The other thing I like too is they don't sound like anyone. Their sound is so unique. It's a really great sound. They're whatever complement of musicians really have an interesting, unique sound. So that's the one thing I also like about Cake. You know a Cake song when you hear it, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking about this one. And I think that's why I like it so much. Is it sounds fresh to me, despite being an older song. It sounds like something new. Like a lot of the times, like you. Or not a lot, but sometimes you give me songs from like bands like from the 90s or something where it sounds like a song I've heard before. You know, like it sounds like a 90s rock song, just a bit generic. Whereas this, like, no, wholly unique, I found.
Yeah, and I think the timing of the song is also important. It was released in 1996. So let's take a look at the history of what 96 was bringing. So grunge was truly dead. And there were in the rock and roll scene, we were in a bit of a flux where we didn't really know where the music was going to go. And so you had a little bit of music like this that was a little bit off kilter, a little bit weird. And then 1997 is when you get into the DJ culture. You get, Fatboy Slim, Chemical Brothers, Moby, The Prodigy. They come through in 1997 and release some amazing DJ inspired records and songs, and they sort of take over for a little bit. Then in the early 2000s, you sort of get the garage band sound again with the Hives and the White Stripes, that kind of sound. The Killers, not the Killers, and who was the band that we went to go see at Ontario Place? The Strokes.
The Strokes, yeah.
Yeah, so you sort of get that music coming in the early 2000s. So yeah, in 1996, rock was in a weird place, and this is the kind of sound that really was standing out. So this is a very much a song of its era.
Fascinating, yeah. I actually had it pegged for a bit older of a song, to be honest. It sounded like a bit older, but I like knowing that it was a bit fresh even when it came out, in that time.
Yeah, very different, exactly. And that was a great thing about alternative music in its day. There was no formula to it. Alternative music could be anything. Bjork was alternative music. Cake was alternative music. Nirvana, Pearl Jam, they were alternative. Tori Amos could be alternative. It was whatever. There was such an open space for it, and I think it's closed a lot. I think we're much more into closed off sounds now. But at the time, alternative music was whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad you like it. I think Cake are a really good band. Yeah. Dive deep into some of the Cake songs and see what you think.
All right. Yeah, I will. And I will report back if I do a bit of a deep dive and see.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. Let's talk about your artist.
Yeah, let's talk about Mk.gee. Very excited to hear your thoughts on this song. It's his newest single, came out in October. We have ROCKMAN by Mk.gee. Why don't we just hit play on it? So, Mk.gee, ROCKMAN, bit of a nice throwback rock song with a twist. What did you think of ROCKMAN?
I didn't like it.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. It was such a hodgepodge of Dire Straits, The Police, or Sting, or Hall & Oates that I felt like I've heard this done better by other bands. I'm going to be mean to, what's his name, Mk.gee?
Mk.gee, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be mean to Mk.gee for a second. This sounds like someone who's recorded music in his bedroom and his mother told him it was fantastic. And he needs, metaphorically, he needs a punch in the mouth, metaphorically, to toughen up and have a bit of a failure and write better music. I'm being mean to him. I have no idea. I listened to a couple other songs just to make sure that my feelings are correct. I listened to a song called Dream Police, and I saw an episode he did on Jimmy Kimmel where he did live. And I really wanted to punch him in the face, metaphorically speaking, of course.
Okay, see, at first I thought, oh man, maybe I got you to listen to the wrong Mk.gee song. If you didn't like Rockman, maybe you like some other stuff. But no, to your credit, you gave him a chance. So I can't even blame myself here for giving you the wrong song.
No, I think he's ripping off so many other bands that maybe it sounds new because it has been 40 years since the 1980s, where it sounds like it's new material. But to someone who lived in the 1980s, I'd rather listen to Hall & Oates, I guess. Yeah,
well, I mean, I think everyone, as we say often on the show, everyone's ripping off somebody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? So, does this song sound like a Sting song? I guess. I don't really like Sting or the Police that much, so I can't really say if it does or not. But
it's more the vocals. I think he sounds a little bit like Sting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Or again, I've never really been...
Or Mike and the Mechanics. Like, name an 80s song or an 80s band, and that's what he sounds like to me.
Okay. Yeah. I think because I don't listen to that stuff,
exactly right.
It doesn't sound like, to me, this sounds like new and fresh and exciting, and like, wow, someone's like doing things and experimenting, and it's such a fresh, cool sound to me. Whereas I guess for you, it's like, we've been here, done that before.
You know, it's like he was a kid and he played sports and the whole team got a medal when he really sucked as an athlete and he thought he was better than he was. And someone needs to tell him he sucks. This is the other thing too. And I've been and I talked about this with Angie because she listened to the song with me today. There's no so when some of the bands like I mentioned, like say like the Police or U2 or like some of the early 80s bands, they toured and toured and toured and played and played and played and failed in front of live audiences and got better and better and better. AC/DC toured Australia and played in shitholes and just got better and better and better and better. I think that is lost now, where I think you live in your own little sort of cubbyhole and can release music and just release it to the world without being it means tested. I think that's kind of what's happening here, where, you know, he's got a guitar and I don't even like his guitar sound.
Really?
That's
my favorite part.
I find it really boring and I don't know, like I don't mind the atmospheric guitar playing, but I just find it boring. And he needs, like I said, he needs metaphorically a punch in the mouth for him to rethink what he's doing and write better music. Again, that's a very 50-year-old thing saying. I know I'm an old man yelling at a cloud here. I get that. I get the irony of all that, but that's just how I felt. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get a punch in the mouth anytime soon.
He looks like he's beloved.
If anything, I think it may actually be the opposite, because Eric Clapton said Mk.gee is like the number one modern guitarist that he loves the most.
Yeah,
so he's getting like from guys like Eric Clapton, he's getting like next up Starboy shouts. So I don't know if he's going to get that punch in the face.
No, and I've read some of the reviews that people are talking about, and he's beloved and people love it, and I get it because it's fresh to a modern audience, and you know, you want to have music that is from your era. Like, I was listening to Nirvana and Pearl Jam when I was younger, and so many people older than me sounds like, oh, this is just bullshit from the 70s, and the 70s did it better. So these are things that were being said in my day. So I get the irony of me doing that to him. I get all that. I just could not get into it. Maybe it's too much history. I've been through too much stuff. I don't know, but I just could not get into it.
What are your thoughts on Eric Clapton saying Mk.gee is the closest thing to Prince that we've seen?
I would say
does that make you angry?
No. I would say maybe we should check if Eric Clapton's doing cocaine again. He might be. He might have relapsed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't personally feel that way. I saw a video where it was Dream Police. He was playing it on a subway, and he had all this gear behind him, and I was like, it still sounds like shit. The mix is so muddled where his vocals are barely heard, and again, I'm being critical, and I don't mean to pick on this poor kid. I don't. It's just my reaction to the song. I just feel the mix is muddled. It could have been mixed better. Just the vibe was off for me, I guess.
All right. Yeah. The vibe was off. That's the review. That's the tagline that we'll put.
Right.
The vibe was off on Mk.gee. Yeah. I don't know. I gotta admit, I expected you to call it the ripping off, but I thought that you'd fall victim to the nostalgia act that he's pulling on this song. With all the verses, the lines in the verses being references to like classic rock songs, and stuff. I thought maybe you'd be caught up in that and enjoy it.
And that's not, and that's understandable because I love the Hives, I love the Strokes, and I love the Killers, and we've heard that sound before. Like they were just ripping off garage rock, but I really like that sound. So that's an assumption that is plausible. Maybe I just don't like Hall & Oates or Mike and the Mechanics or the Police that much, where I was like, I don't really like Mike and the Mechanics, so I'm not going to like this song. Maybe that's it. Maybe if they sounded like a band that I liked, maybe I'd like it more.
Yeah, I also saw this song compared to a Blue Oyster Cult song, and I don't really know much by them other than "Don't Fear the Reaper." So I don't know.
Yeah, we listened to. I think we listened to Godzilla from on
yeah,
the podcast.
True, yeah. Godzilla. That was a good one.
Yeah. It is a little bit prog rocky, I guess, in a way. So I could see why people would refer to it as Blue Oyster Cult. I think Blue Oyster Cult fans would get a little upset by that.
Probably,
because I live with one, and if I was to tell her that, she might get a little upset. He needs a metaphorical punch in the mouth. That's my review.
Okay, well, the last fun fact I have on him
go for it.
Is not gonna endear him to you because it's quite pretentious. He's highly regarded for his like original guitar sound. Like that's the main like thing for him is he has this guitar that's so unique and so innovative and cool. And he explained that when he wanted to learn guitar, he thought, well, why would I learn guitar from a guitar teacher? That's useless. I want to learn guitar from someone who is not a guitar player. And so he learned from someone who plays the upright bass. He went to an upright bass teacher with a guitar, and that's how he learned. And then his primary instrument is a Fender Jaguar, like a Fender electric guitar that he has strung as a baritone guitar.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which is great because he's going to sound unique and he's not going to sound like anyone else. Unfortunately, it sounds like shit. I'm picking on him, and I don't mean to. I think he should. He's an artist, and he should make whatever kind of music he wants. Let him go forth and be creative. It's just not for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, unfortunately, Mk.gee is being hailed as the next standard bearer for rock and roll. And me personally, I'm very excited to see how his career develops. This is his debut studio album, and he only has 2 EPs out prior to that. Right. So still very, very young in his career, but he's doing world tours all over, touring like crazy. He's been touring nonstop for like the past 2 years. So
now let me ask you a question. If you were to see him live in concert, would you fall asleep during the show? Like, what would you do?
I don't think so. I've seen videos, and like the mosh pits look awesome.
For this guy?
Oh yeah.
But he's so boring.
No, the mosh pits look great.
I'd fall asleep, I think.
Yeah.
He had
Well, how old did you say you were? 50?
well, when he
That
performed,
might have something to do with it.
when he performed with Jimmy Fallon, like when he performed at the Jimmy Fallon show, he had like a flutist with him.
That's sick. You
Like,
never moshed to some flute?
no, I can't say I ever have. I guess I was too busy, listening to Rage Against the Machine. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the kids are doing mosh pits and walls of death to flute nowadays. So
Yeah, I don't know. Like, can you imagine if we were to transport some kids today back to like 1993 and Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine came on, what they would do?
yeah, that'd be interesting. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know if I should try playing some Rage Against the Machine for some of my friends and see how quickly they tell me to turn it off.
Yes. You know what? I think you should do that as a live experiment. Flick on the microphone and get a round table and let's see what people think if they've never heard Rage before. Yeah.
All right, I'll see what I can do. Next time I'm in a room with a bunch of my friends, I'll see if I can do that.
It's for scientific purposes only.
Yes. All right. Well, Mk.gee, we'll call it a swing and a miss for you.
Yep.
But I really like this song. I really like his debut album. I love just the experimental vibe. I love the atmosphere and just how. I don't know. It just sounds so grimy and raw,
Yeah,
and I really enjoy it. I love how lo-fi and just unpolished it sounds, and I hope he keeps that as he ascends to stardom. I really hope he keeps that aspect, because that's what I think makes him unique to me. So maybe his next album we'll circle back and see if you like him anymore.
Brilliant. Let's do it. Yeah, and to me it sort of sounds like someone who's still searching for their pacifier, I guess. It just was a little bit boring for me.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's crazy? He's 28. I always thought he'd be like a 20-year-old or something, but no, he's actually he's older than me.
There is when I was a kid and I listened to John Cougar Mellencamp, and he wrote a song that's like I Fought the Law. I can't remember what the name of the song was. I'm not a big fan of it now, but when I was a kid, I remember thinking, wow, this is so like young and aggressive and and of my era, and I would have been like 13, 14. And then I looked it up, and at the time when he recorded it, he was like 33 or 34 years old. And I was thinking, what the fuck's he still singing about this shit for?
Yeah, it's like start talking about 401ks.
Yeah, like you're not 18, like you're literally talking about fighting the law, and you're like in your mid 30s. Like just stop it. And so maybe he needs to retire the pacifier, I guess. You know what? I would love for him to hear this podcast. I'm gonna tag him in everything that we do with this podcast, because it would be my dream for him to hear this and respond.
All right, Mk.gee, if you're listening, keep up the good work, man. I love what you're doing, and hit me up next time you're in Toronto, because I'd love to come to the show.
The name kind of reminds me of, I saw this clip the other day where these people were introducing music, and this was back in the day. This is back in like 1990 or something like that. And this woman who was introducing a brand new song, she goes, "Next we have Mick Hammer."
God!
With the song "Please Don't Hurt Them," and then they can see the co-host laughing, and she's like, "What did I say?" And she's like, "It's MC Hammer, not Mick Hammer."
Mick Hammer. Oh.
So that made me think of Mk.gee. I wasn't sure if it was Mk.gee. Like I wasn't sure how to pronounce his name, so I'm glad we figured it out.
Yeah, he has an EP titled "It's Pronounced Mk.gee."
That's
so,
cool.
There you
That's
go.
funny. Okay, I appreciate that. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, what song do you have for me for next week?
For next week, I'm going to get you to listen to the song "Striptease" by FKA Twigs from her newest album that released in January. Okay. You like the first Twigs song?
I hated like the second, and let's see if I like this one. Okay.
So we're gonna see what you think about this one.
Okay, cool. I'm intrigued, and I'm still getting you to listen to bands with weird names that have amazing songs. So we're gonna go. This is an oldie. So this is from the early '80s. We're gonna go with a band called Wall of Voodoo with a song called Mexican Radio. Now,
okay,
you might know the song because this was a big favorite of mine and your dad's when we were growing up. So you might have heard it from your dad's playlist. Or you might not know the name of it, but you might have heard this song before. So we're going to find out.
All right. Okay. So, I'm very interested. Great title.
Yeah. Wall of Voodoo.
So yeah, I'm hyped.
Wall of Voodoo, and the song is called Mexican Radio. There we go. That's your song.
Okay. Cool.
Let's do this day in music history. Now, this is a pretty funny one. I love Oasis. I think I like Oasis better than I like Oasis music. I like the band better. So on this date, on February 23rd, 1998, all members of Oasis were banned for life from flying Cathay Pacific Airlines after abusive and disgusting behavior during a flight from Hong Kong to Perth, Australia. So I know a little bit of the story. They were really, really drunk, and they were not treating the flight attendants with very much kindness. So they were almost arrested when they landed in Australia for what their drunken lout behavior was on the flight.
Well, they're I'm not a fan of them, given they're big Manchester City fans. So
yeah, they Liam Gallagher is pretty funny. They asked him what his thoughts were about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and and I'm paraphrasing here. He goes, "Oh, that's the lamest piece of shit in the world. Like that's so stupid." And then they go, well, what would happen if you guys were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And he said, well, it would obviously be the greatest thing in the world. I mean, it would be a great honor.
Yeah, see, I like that. I just don't like the when they're in Man City fan mode.
Yeah, no, they are quite annoying. So we're going to listen to Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis. Darren just hit play. But don't look back in anger. You say. All right, Nick. Other than shoveling snow, what are your plans for the rest of the week?
Not a ton, honestly. Just got a couple shifts coming up at the hospital to end the week, so I'll be busy with that. But yeah, not too much otherwise.
There might be a chance we don't record next week because I'm traveling again. Unfortunately, I'm spending 3 days in a town called Gympie, which is the worst name for a town of all time here in Australia. It's about 2 hours north of where I live, so I'm there for a few days doing a couple jobs. So there is a chance we don't record next week, but if that happens, we'll record the following week. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Now, because I have been traveling, I have not had a chance to find an independent artist. So this message is for Darren. Darren, please find an artist from our previous podcast that you enjoyed, and let's introduce them here now. And Nick, we're going to talk to you next week.
You got it.
This week's artist is Scarlet Gunner from Brisbane, and their song is Sideshow.
What we said would come, and it's been so long. Well, here they come. Well, we're brave enough to see something a part of me coming on your sideshow. only be while you take a part of me, becoming your sideshow. What are you waiting for? I'm becoming your sideshow. What are you waiting for? Be something a part of me, coming on your sideshow. What are you waiting for? Coming on your sideshow. What are you waiting for?
You've been listening to Just Hit Play. To contact your hosts, Peter and Nick, or to be featured on an episode as musical talent, email justhitplay7300@gmail.com. Keep up to date with news and announcements by following on Instagram and Facebook, linked in the show notes. Subscribe on your favourite podcatcher to tune in next week for more sonic delights. And if you can't wait till then, check out the Just Hit playlist on Spotify, linked in the show notes. A special thanks to Braden Munch for the theme song, and thank you for listening.